Welcome to Cross Gen Sisters. I'm Keisha, I'm the older sister.
And I'm Chantal, the younger sister. Hey, sis.
Hey sis, what you been up to?
You know what? I'm just out here in these summer streets, going to pool parties, going to cookouts and barbecues. I haven't always been a summer girly, but this is my summer. Hey, the skin's getting darker. She's got a tan going on. She's getting, dates and stuff. What, you know what I'm saying? So I've been enjoying this summer. What about you?
I like to call it a browning because I don't get tan. I get brown. I get brown hair. So
Mm,
I always think of it as a browning, not a tanning.
I love that. Like that extra nice layer that just amplifies the already beautiful skin you have.
Yes. So I'm just gonna put that out there. Maybe it'll take off and other brown people will start calling themselves getting a browning when they go out in the sun.
I hope that doesn't
Uh,
mean anything inappropriate, but
it,
if it does,
oh Lord, here we go.
are you getting browning today?
Okay, okay.
Y'all let us know if browning is safe to use.
For me, let's see, what have I been up to? I watched my neighbor's dog yesterday. She's an adorable little dachshund, and she and Ollie like to make out. Have you seen
Oh,
dogs like just like lick tongues? I don't understand this. They just
I
like,
have seen it. Yeah, it's very uncomfortable to watch.
yeah, it seems unsanitary, but it's actually really cute. Um, and I appreciate that they like have this respect for each other. So that was like a nice dose of adorableness yesterday.
I mean, they lick each other's asses, so I'm not surprised they also lick
Oh,
each other in the
okay.
mouth. So
Yeah, okay.
that's how they greet each other. They're like, oh, come on, let me go straight to the ass. Like, that's how they say hello. Okay. We
I
shake
mean,
hands and they shake ass. Okay. That's
they're
what they do.
they're not getting all in there doing the salad tossing. They're just, you know,
Your dog doesn't, but I've seen it at dog parks. Okay. They get it in,
okay.
literally.
All right. Oh,
You're welcome.
thanks for that.
Anytime, anytime.
Can we move on?
Yes, we can. All right, y'all. Up next, today I learned.
Thank God.
We're back with Today I Learned. Keish, let me tell you what I learned. You ready?
I am so excited.
So I don't know if you know this, you probably do, but I am obsessed with the Olympics. I always have been. I remember when I visited you when I was 17 and when you were living in California. When you're at work, all I did was watch the Olympics. Like I love the Olympics so much. I love diving, swimming, you name it. Did you know that Flavor Flav sponsored the women's water polo team because he found out that many of these athletes work like 2 to 3 jobs outside of training and competing in their sport? So he was like, hold on. Your boys got you, okay? So he now sponsors the water polo team for the women's sport for he's just signed a 5-year sponsorship deal. And so isn't that amazing? So all we've been seeing him is just rooting on the water polo team. Flavor Flav did like a FaceTime with him. He goes, yes, your boy, Flavor Flav. It just warmed my heart. And I had to share that because I was like, I love this. Like it's like the most random collaboration ever, but it's also very wholesome and cute. And I loved it a lot.
That was also almost going to be my TIL because I read that yesterday and I was like, oh my gosh, that is so cool. Because at first I thought it was just, I saw a picture of Flavor Flav in an audience and I was like, why is Flavor Flav there?
Hmm.
And then I read why and I was like, oh wow, yes, that's how you support women.
Exactly. You show up, okay, show me the money. Okay, show me the dinero. Like he literally put his money where his mouth is. He got gathered resources and people to help him fund it. And he was like, listen, I'm showing up. And he literally did just that. And so that was my Today I Learned, and it just made me so very happy. What is yours, sis?
So mine is not as wholesome. It's not dirty, but it's not as wholesome. So I learned that in the like 20s and 30s and maybe even later, uh, in order to give themselves like nice sculpted cheeks, like just have the cheekbones just like stand out. Actresses would have their molars removed. So
Ew.
imagine having some of your teeth removed just so that you can make sure that your cheekbones were like at attention.
Oh my gosh. The things they would do. What the hell?
And it got so bad. Let me just read you what happened to Joan Crawford. So we know Joan
Oh,
Crawford, Miss No Wire Hairs. So she
what was
apparently
that? Wait. What was that again? Do it again.
no
No
wire
wire
hair.
hangers. You gotta let the hangers linger. Hangers.
You shouldn't laugh. Her poor daughter went through so much. But
I know.
yeah, so she had her teeth removed to accentuate her cheeks.
Did you
And it
like
left
her all of her teeth? All of her teeth are
no
gone.
some no. She had some of her teeth removed. She wasn't trying to be like an old lady. Anyway, so after the extraction, her front teeth were spaced out and filled with dentist cement before being filed down to be fitted with caps. This painful treatment left her uncomfortable and ultimately led to her gums becoming infected. Her whole mouth swelled up as a result of the infection and left her with a large upper lip which never returned to its normal size. She was pleased with this one side effect, and subsequently became known for her full and distinctive lips. However, in the late 60s, so this is like 30 years after she's in her prime, major dental surgery left her requiring round-the-clock medical care. Can you imagine?
Oh my God. No wonder why she was so damn irritable and bitchy all the time. Okay, she couldn't feel her damn mouth. What the hell?
Probably. I mean, it doesn't seem worth it, but okay, Joan.
The things they would do for vanity. Like, what in the world? Okay, that is just very alarming. Cement. Oh my gosh. Around the clock care. Oh my gosh, Joan, my girl.
It,
What?
yeah, it's like the things that you do when you're young and you're not thinking about the repercussions of what is old me gonna think? Oh God.
But damn, she probably had dentures by the time she was 40. My goodness.
It's time for Pop and Jen. So, Chantal, I think you're up first this week. What you got?
Yes. Okay. So for this week for Pop and Jen, I have two topics. The first one is speaking of the Olympics, did you see the video of Beyonce introducing the Olympic team to her iconic song for her newly released album, Cowboy Carter, Yaya? Have you seen it?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
We snapping. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Like it was so good. Like seeing her in her one piece suit, swimsuit, I guess it was like that. I think it was Ralph Lauren did the official
Yeah.
um suits or costume. What do you call them? Costumes? I don't know.
I was calling them costumes because
Yeah, a costume, suits, whatever you call them. Beyonce introduced the team from water polo to swimming to gymnastics. She said, "My girl Simone Biles." Anytime Beyonce says "my girl" and then your name in front of it, you cannot talk to that person for the rest of their lives. Okay? Are you kidding me? When you have Beyonce's cosign, there is no touching you. So she introduced the team. It was so dope. Loved seeing her and donned out and all of her, Olympic paraphernalia. It was really good to see it. And I love that she did it to Yaya.
yeah, and the video was so cute. Um, her waist, like not to be shallow, what the heck is that?
Waistwear. Waistwear.
Incredible.
Okay. After three babies, please listen.
Seriously. But yeah, it was
Mm.
really cool. I'm sure the athletes were really excited, and it's like only someone of Beyonce's stature could do something like this. Like do the voiceover talking about the sports and it not be like cringy.
Exactly. I was like, come on, teleprompter. Come on, voiceover. Like, give
And
it
she
to us.
sounded
I
good.
said, she sounded really good. I said, Barbara Walters, watch out. Okay. Because she's coming for you. She's coming.
I'm like, somebody's been working on that diction.
Okay, she has. She said, listen, y'all ain't going to call me no country bumpkin ever again. Okay. Let him
Yeah.
know, Miss B. Let him know. Yeah, she did a great job. And then my second topic was we just got the news, it's been some days now, a week or so. By the time this episode comes out, it'll be like 2 weeks since it was announced that Kamala Harris is running for president. She is replacing Joe Biden on the ticket for the Democratic Party. And I want to talk about the memes that have come out of this have truly made my day. The one where it's like, you just found a coconut tree. You just see literally random coconuts falling out of the tree. I love when you see just her with the one where she's dancing with like that line band. They're like doing all of these funny songs over it, like Nuck If You Buck. It's just so funny. Like it just has this reinvigorating like spirit behind it. I'm not as terrified as I was days ago. It's get really ignited hope into the American people. And I just think that not to get political, this is not a political podcast, but just seeing how that synergy of people really rallying behind. And it's been a week and she's gone, I think she's raised over $100 million. Seeing, that call with 44,000 Black women, because one thing about a Black woman, we're gonna save the day, okay? At the end of the day got to end, in the words of Glorilla, and it's gonna be because Black women held it down. And I just loved to seeing the rally of the support. Also, when the white women were like, show up, Glennon Doyle was like, show up, white women. And you saw people like Pink on the call. And I don't know. I just love seeing this kind of resurgence of people really rallying behind a really, important election political time. So yeah, that was something that just was really endearing to see because literally no less than a week ago, we were all terrified. So I just love how everything pivoted to being like hopeful.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was officially announced last Sunday because I remember getting a text from you or no, we were on the phone and you were like, "Did you just hear?" And I'm like, "Well, I didn't get, how does she know before?" And then I see in my phone, I got the notification. Uh,
I was shocked
yeah,
that I beat your notification because I usually have told you after the fact. So I was like, wow, I'm breaking news to Keisha.
because I was actually on my phone, so I wasn't looking at my phone. Um, I really loved seeing threads. Like I was on threads when all of this was going on, and it was so happy. Like, I haven't been on Twitter or X or whatever the shit's called. I deactivated, I don't know, a year or 2 years ago.
Same.
And the threads has been just refreshing in the lack of like drama, the lack of nonsense, the lack of Nazis, and seeing people so happy across demographics about this news. Like seeing like South Asian people talking about, oh, all the aunties are on a call talking about how they're so excited. Like that's so cool.
I know.
Um,
It was awesome. And black men. Black men had their own Zoom call too. I was like, okay, now I'm expecting every culture. Okay, I need the Indian community. I need the Latina community.
the white dudes are on Monday.
Oh, are they? Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I better see Bradley Cooper. I better see Hugh Jackman. I'm just randomly naming white men. I better
I
see
I
Robert
mean,
Downey
look,
Jr. Okay. I
it's a
need to
call
see
for
all of them.
everybody.
I need Thor's ass on the line. Okay.
Okay, then I want to join this call.
I know, right? We have Thor, man. I got something you can hammer. But anyway,
Oh my God. It's not.
I'm just
Oh,
saying. But
Lord.
anyway. Oh my goodness. So tell me, what are your poppin' gens of the week?
So did you see that Seth Rogen, my new friend, was at something about her? You know, the restaurant that is co-owned by my girl Ariana Madix, who you hate on for no justifiable reason. He was
Pause. I have very justifiable reasons, but that was another whole podcast episode that we won't get into, but continue.
anyway. So Seth Rogen and his wife Lauren were at something about her. And for those who are uninitiated, Ariana Madix is from Vanderpump Rules. She's the one who got cheated on by that scumbag.
Yeah.
And As a result, got a lot of attention, lots of endorsements. She and one of her castmates have a sandwich shop in West Hollywood called Something About Her, inspired by the interior decor of Nancy Meyers. And Seth Rogen was there because Seth Rogen is also a Vanderpump Rules fan. Who knew that Seth Rogen and I had all this stuff in common?
Are you
So.
saying that you basically have a crush on Seth Rogen?
I'm absolutely not saying that. Can say with 100% certainty, no shade to that man. But he's married. I'm good. Just saying we could be friends.
Okay, that's
So,
fair. That's fair. Yeah, I can see you as with friends with Seth Rogen. But no, that's cool. I also, I'm not saying this because I literally don't understand why Ariana is hosting shows and things of that nature. But whatever. Those sandwiches look very dry. But I actually would be interested in trying them. But they look drier than a Sahara Desert. I had a friend who recently went, she
I
did an Instagram story, and I was like, that thing could start fire. That Capri
I think
sandwich. But hey, next time you're in LA, let's go. I do not mind going and trying it.
so dramatic. Drier than the Sahara, really.
It was giving like I feel like if I would have been into it, a spark to spot a spark
I
would have
think
started.
there's an extra sprinkling of some salty ass shade in this description. Okay.
Speaking of salt, I heard that the salami that she cuts is super, super salty, but I mean, it took her over 2 years to open this, so hey, we're gonna have some slips and slides along the way. But
And
what
did you also hear the soda is too carbonated, too many bubbles? Like what?
didn't hear that. I don't know if she's serving drinks. I do know the space is small, but I would love to try those brick sandwiches that she has and just see, give my own opinion. But
Did you change your
other than
name
that,
to Lala?
this is
Are
me.
you
I'm like
Lauren from
Kendrick
Utah?
Lamar. No, I'm like Kendrick Lamar. I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk, the way that you speak.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
Kendrick Lamar when it comes to that, okay?
That's a
Because
little dramatic.
that's how I feel. That's how I feel. Everyone gets cheated on. Move on.
You know what? I am gonna move on because I'm
Yes.
done with
This is a topic, y'all, that we go back and forth on all the time, and I will never change my stance.
because you're hating for no reason.
Mm, I'm just actually speaking facts, but it's okay.
Okay. All right, all right, all right. Okay. So my next topic for Pop and Jen. So I've been thinking about Tom Hanks.
As
Uh,
one does, as one does. Okay.
as one does, possible black man. That is also a story for another time. Uh,
Spicy white.
I don't even think he's spicy white. I just,
That somebody, there's a drop, some type of drop of
yeah,
blackness in his family lineage. Yes, completely
yeah.
agree.
So if anyone's curious about that, do Google Tom Hanks is a
Yeah,
black man.
Google it.
You'll find all
Yeah.
kinds of. Anyway, I
And
was thinking about
shout out to Tracy Clayton for who actually did it viral.
yes,
Yes, who's the one who started that conversation. So shout out to her.
yeah. It's funny. I thought about another round yesterday. Her podcast with Hebben.
I know.
That was so good.
So good. Shout out to them.
And they did a whole investigation on whether or not Tom Hanks is a black man. Anyway, Tom Hanks has had so many movies across multiple decades that depending on how old you are, your experience of Tom Hanks is different. So to test this theory that I have, it's not really a theory. I wanted to ask you if you think of two Tom Hanks movies that you really like, which two come to mind?
Forrest Gump and Castaway. Those are the first films that come to mind, the ones that I was introduced to Tom Hanks with.
Wow. I've never seen Castaway.
Are you serious?
I've
What?
never seen Castaway.
Wilson, the ball? You have never seen it?
I mean, I know the reference, but so here's my thing. I, when I think of Tom Hanks, my Tom Hanks is 80s Tom Hanks and maybe a little bit of 90s. So I think of Splash with Daryl Hannah as the mermaid, classic, iconic movie. And
Never heard of
like,
it.
are you serious right now?
I don't know what that
Like,
is.
I'm looking at your face and you're like, what? Are you making that
Splash.
bold? Are you serious right now?
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
Okay. Just take some time to get over that. But in the meantime, Big.
Oh yeah, isn't that where he like plays on that piano, that big
Oh my
piano?
God, yes. That
Yeah, he
is the
plays on
movie.
that. That's what I remember. He plays on this big piano, and I remember watching it. And be like,
Yes.
oh my gosh, that looks so fun.
That is my favorite Tom Hanks movie of all time. I will watch that movie repeatedly. I've seen it repeatedly. So many classic scenes, like what you just said, that took place at FAO Schwartz. And FAO Schwartz had like a big flagship store in Times Square, I believe. And once that movie came out, it apparently like it went nuts. Like people were coming from all over, like wanting to do the whole like recreate the whole piano scene from Big. Um,
Does it still exist?
I seem to recall like Evian Schwartz, I think like went bankrupt and they were shutting down most of their locations, but then I think they had a resurgence. So I think it might be open again, but not the way it was. But yeah, that's
Okay.
fascinating. So I have seen Forrest Gump. I liked Forrest Gump. That was like in the 90s, so I was still like rocking with Tom Hanks. But I don't know. I've seen maybe one of his movies that came out in like the 2000s, but like my Tom Hanks is not your Tom Hanks. Like
Yeah.
I love Sleepless in Seattle. I was talking to a friend about this who's like maybe 9 years younger. I love Sleepless in Seattle. Like that is
Sounds
my
familiar. I think I've heard of that movie.
I
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it though.
like you're saying this with all seriousness.
I don't know this movie. And the only reason why I know Big is because we talked about it in school, like grade
Oh
school.
my God. What? Uh, why don't you just like shoot me in the face? We talked about this in grade school, you old bitch. Um, I so I was talking to a friend about this who is the same age as our middle sister, Natasha. And she was like, Sleepless in Seattle. Oh no. I like You've Got Mail. And I was like, You've Got Mail?
You've got mail? That's really what, okay.
That was her that was her Tom Hanks romantic comedy. I'm like, you're okay. You're trying to tell me you have two classic Tom Hanks, Meg Ryan films, and you're choosing You Got Mail with the AOL sound. You got
You
mail.
got
Okay.
mail.
Yeah. It's just,
You
yeah.
weren't having it. You were like,
Tom
no.
Tom Hanks, you've had an illustrious long career to the point where you can start fights with friends and siblings because they disagree on which one of your movies is the best.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Very, very true. It's super, super funny that literally that was her choice. You've got mail. Because what? Of all the ones to choose from? But hey, more power to her.
More power to her.
All right, is that it for your pop and Jen?
That's it. I'm done popping and ginning.
All right, y'all. Coming up, story time.
Do you remember when I went to visit you in LA one time and I took you to this Thai restaurant on Sunset called Toy? It's like it's near the Guitar Center on Sunset, and it's like kind of dark inside and moody. It's got like a rock and roll vibe. There are like posters on the wall of all these rock and roll bands and artists
When I lived here, you lived here.
while you've been living there.
Oh, vaguely.
Or- So, yeah, so Toy I discovered in like the mid 2000s because I was taking acting classes and my acting partner at the time was this woman who it's maybe I was in my mid 20s, she's maybe a couple of years older than me, and she had this like old Hollywood look, like white old Hollywood. Um, She had like dark red hair and she had it like a bangs with like a swoop in the front and it just had that like soft curl. Like she was gorgeous.
Hmm.
And I had, been living in LA for maybe a year and a half to 2 years. I was very uh like I was easily swayed by all the glitz and the glamour and any like indication that like you've made it in Hollywood. And she just had this super cool vibe. And I remember I went to her apartment. She lived like right in the heart of Hollywood and she lived by all these really cool bars. And we were assigned a scene in our acting class. I was really intimidated because I was like, oh, she is just really good and she's gorgeous and she just seems so like otherworldly. And she said, do you want to go to this restaurant called Toy? We can practice at my apartment and then we can go there for dinner. And she's one of the people who told me, uh, I don't go out in Hollywood on Friday and Saturday nights because that's when the tourists go out. I was like, oh, word? Okay. Like that stuck with me for years when I lived in LA. And I was like, actually, she was right. Like when I thought about it, like over time, it was like, yeah, if you actually want to see celebrities, like they're not hanging out on Sunset Boulevard on Friday and Saturday nights. They're going
Nope.
out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday
Yes.
to like these clubs that are like hard to get in. You need to know people. So anyway, I digress. So she knew where it was at. Like she knew where the cool stuff happened. And so after we practice our scene, we go across the street to Toy. And like I said, it's got this like rock and roll vibe. I think they have a jukebox. They're playing like loud rock and roll music. And we go to the bar and she's like, do you want some sake? Like, sure. I don't know what the hell sake is. I never had sake before. I had like just barely had sushi for the first time. So we have sake, hot sake. I do the shot as I'm told, and it's like this warm feeling just like going down my chest. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. This is like nothing. So I have a bunch of more shots of hot sake. And at some point, I'm like head on the bar, just like, oh. This sake is stronger than I than I expected. I'm having a blast. I'm like, I'm 25, 26. I'm on Sunset Boulevard, hanging out with a super cool chick who looks like very old Hollywood in this rock and roll bar. Having sake. And I just really felt cool. And then she says, well, my friend, this guy that I'm dating wants to come. And I'm like not surprised that she has a guy that she's dating because I assume that like all the guys want to date her. The guy comes and he's like in a band, a rock and roll band, and he looks like he just came out of the bathroom like doing some booger sugar, which at the time I didn't know. But thinking back on it, I'm like, oh yeah. And he says to my friend, staring at me intently, your friend's hot. I would fuck her. Like, I'm so innocent. Like, I am like, I don't know. I'm like, where am I? Where did my friend take me? And the rest is to be continued.
Did y'all have a threesome?
No.
Hey, that's kind of, I'm like, what happened to that? Like, what?
What?
I mean, listen, the night is young. So I'm just saying.
Absolutely not. I was in my good girl bag.
You
I'm
can't say to be
still
continue after someone, okay, you're gonna have our people, our audience be like, oh, obviously it was a threesome. So I just had to ask myself.
no,
Okay.
no. But yeah.
Boo. Well, great story time, Keish. You really, really took us on a journey there. And shout out to Sake and Sushi. You are the reason why I love sushi so much. So shout out to that old Hollywood gal for introducing you because you introduced me.
Yay.
And I also love Thai food. All of these foods I was introduced to by you, but I'm not gonna give you too much credit. But anywho, time for our final segment on our screens and through our earbuds. Welcome back. So, sis, I've been watching quite a bit of television. It ranges from reality TV to like drama series to like documentaries. I love a good just range of TV to watch. So, first up, we have College Hill Celebrity Edition. And I love Celebrity Edition College Hill because you just have all these chaotic energies and personalities together. This season is like Black China, Tamar Braxton, Claudia Jordan, Saucy Santana, Nick Young, and Carlos Miller. I think I'm forgetting someone. If I am, sorry. But anywho, my favorite season is a season where it had Nene Leakes, and I think it was Nene Leakes, Big Frida, and I forgot who else was in there. But oh, in New York,
Ray J,
yes, Ray J, New York. Like that, like
Slim
so good.
Thug.
Was oh yes, actually no, that wasn't my favorite one. Yes, the first one. Yes, you're right. You're right. Slim Thug was on the yes. That was my favorite season. Celeb Edition College Hill. I think because I used to watch the original College Hill. I was not old enough to watch it, but I watched it all the time. Virgin Islands was my favorite. The iconic like shoe scene with the fight. Like I was like, oh my gosh. But I like this because it's just something lighthearted to watch. It's very entertaining. Saucy Santana is my favorite because he's in on the show, but he does not care about college. He just wants to party and have fun. And I'm just like, I was so into like the balance of everything in college of like balancing schoolwork and partying. But I just thought it was so funny to see him being like, F this, I don't care. I'm going to the party. It's 5 a.m. I'm not going to class. Like it's just so funny watching these unlikely like pairings on a show together. So that is what I'm watching right now. It's also good to do when you're like doing chores or whatever. It's like something to put on. And then next up, we have Worst Roommate Ever on Netflix. Have you heard of it?
Oh, I have.
This show is crazy. Like it is insane. It's a mini docuseries about people who have had crazy roommate experiences, and this season does not disappoint. You have this one woman, not going to give it away, but her so-called best friend has been slowly killing her, like slowly trying to like take her life. Like it is
Oh
insane.
God.
I know the woman is like terminally ill, and like the woman who's supposed to be her best friend has been giving her these injections, but it turns out the injections are, you gotta watch to find out. It is
Wow.
crazy. Yeah, this season worst for me ever. I'm like, whoa. And like shout out to whoever produces it because the illustrations and the animations they have on this really take you into the story. I love a good production. But yes, that's what I'm watching. And last up, I think I've mentioned this before on the show, but I'm watching Supercell. Supercell is with these Black British superheroes that have these powers that come out of nowhere. One person is like translucent and can like teleport everywhere. One person has like superpowers as far as like being able to like crush like a building with their bare hands. And this other person can like kind of like bring evaporate into the I don't know. They have these really cool superpowers and it's really fun to watch. It you have to stay tuned though. Like you can't like be doing stuff. Like you have to be plugged in. But yes, I have a range of shows that I watch because I love a good range. But yes, that's what I'm currently watching.
Okay. I like that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw that Worst Roommate Ever has a new season. I've seen the previous season, but not this one.
Yeah, this is like the third season.
Oh, okay.
I know. And there's only like 4 episodes each, so it's like an 4 1 hour long episode, so they're
I
so
mean,
good.
it's enough to trigger you and be traumatizing
Yeah.
because you're thinking about your worst fucking roommate.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Me too. I'm thinking about my worst roommate who, when she, upon moving out, found out that her section of the kitchen, this is in college, was completely infested by maggots. So, yeah, that shows you how much
oh,
she
that's
never cleaned up.
disgusting.
Like roommates can be that. That's why I pledge. Yeah, that's never going to be my story again. I can't do it. Cannot. Nope.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, I know the feeling. I'll save my roommate story for another story time.
All right.
'Cause
Yeah. Let's circle
fuck
back
that
to that.
bitch.
Okay. Period. But anywho, if your roommate's who I think you're talking about, I'm screaming. But anywho, what are your
No, you
watches?
never met her.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
so I I have been watching the latest season of Ghost, which
Okay.
is from the Power universe. And they did the thing where they split. So this is the final season.
Oh, Ghost. I thought you were talking about Ghosts, the one that we watch.
No, no, I love Ghost, but no, no, like Ghost singular from the Power
Got you. From the Power Universe. Got you.
universe.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
So this is the last season, which I don't know why, and a bunch of fans like me are upset, but they split it into two halves. So there's 5 episodes in this first half, and that's what I watch, and then there is the back half that comes out next month. So I'm assuming so that they can, one, like extend the hype, and then two, extend the subscriptions for stars. Anyway, it's really good. Great show. I'm sad that it's almost over. And then I'm watching a show called The Serpent Queen that is also on Stars. And I don't think that it would be a show for you, but do you remember when I was watching Harlots? Like I went through this.
Yes. Oh God, yes. I
Oh, I
remember.
love Harlots so much. So the lead
Why are you
of
smiling like it's some endearing show?
because the actresses are so good and the story, it was a great show. Anyway, uh so one of the leads from Harlots is this actress Samantha Morton, and she was fantastic in that show. So when I saw that she has a show called The Serpent Queen, I was like, I have to watch this. And I'm only 4 episodes in, but just real quick, she plays Queen of France in the 1500s. So I know that I have already lost you because it is a period show. Um,
Yep.
but it's like very irreverent. Like within the first 30 minutes of the first episode, there was like nakedness and someone used the C word, and I was like, oh, okay. So this is not just like a PBS masterpiece of Britain boring show. This is like these people are getting freaky in the 1500s in France, and I am liking this show. So it's based loosely on a true story of Catherine de Medici. Uh yeah, so The Serpent Queen, really good. And
Okay.
then the last show is Under the Bridge, which is on Hulu. Have you seen that?
I have not, no. Under the Bridge?
Yeah, it's the show with Lily Gladstone and Riley Keough. You know, Riley is Elvis's
Oh,
granddaughter.
yes. Yes, familiar with both of them, yeah.
Yeah, so I've never seen Riley in anything, and she's actually a really good actress. Good for her. Lily Gladstone is first time I've seen her in anything that I know of. Also really good. But it's also based on a true story, and it's a mini series, 8 episodes about a murder of a teenage girl in Canada. And Lily Gladstone plays a detective, and Riley Keough plays a journalist. And part of the show is just like trying to figure out who killed this teenage girl. And there are other teenage girls involved. And you want to talk about good acting? These teenage girls or the girls playing the teenage girls are such good actresses. Like this was triggering. Like I had to like split the show up into multiple sessions because I was like, I'm feeling trauma from my junior high days. Like they're so mean. Teenagers scare me in general, and then teenage
Yeah,
girls, oh my
same.
God.
Teenage girls are actually like terrifying.
Yeah, so it's well done, but it's intense.
Okay, well, you've sold me. I'm gonna check out Under the Bridge
I
because
think you would like it.
yeah, that sounds right up my alley.
Yeah. So that's it for me with what's on my screen. What are you listening to these days?
Oh man. So I've you know this, and I've told the people before, I'm a huge R&B head. I'm always listening to R&B, but I took a trip down to the R hip hop world, and I have been obsessed with Megan Thee Stallion's new album, Mamushi, her new song with the Jamaican Jesus, Japanese rapper. Um, Yokoshiba. He is a Japanese rapper, and I love that she's literally teaching people Japanese in her song. I literally just learned the dance, and so I think it's super cute. But she has this song that is just so cute, and she's saying arigato, arigato. Like it's just like a hip version of like educating people about like these different diverse cultures. I love the album. I love the production. I love what she does with it. I love basically just her growth as an artist. And so I've been playing that nonstop. And I love her song Accent with Glorilla. What else have I been listening to? Dateline podcast and 2020. I love me a true crime podcast. I put it
I
on
know.
like it is just like I literally before we were recording this, I was listening to a 2020 podcast episode of Susan Powell, the 28-year-old woman who vanished in 2012 because her husband allegedly murdered her. And then whenever the cops were on his case about it, they had two young boys and they tried questioning the young boys, tried doing this whole thing. Turns out that the husband's father was obsessed with Susan Powell and tried to make sexual advances towards her.
Oh
So
no.
they then took the kids because the husband had custody of the children. They took the kids away from them because the father-in-law was arrested for child pornography. And then when Susan's parents got custody rights of the children, the husband ended up killing the sons within a house fire and then did committed suicide. So this was a crazy, crazy, crazy true crime story. And it just had me at the edge of my seat. And one thing I had to remind myself with these true crime stories that these are real. Like these are real life
Oh,
people, real life things happening. So my heart goes out to them, of course. But like true crime, Dateline in 2020, they keep me on the edge of my seat. So that's what I'm always listening to because it's just like thrilling. Like I don't know, like true crime, women are the number one demographic for true crime.
yeah, I know. Because we're trying to
Yeah.
figure out how not to be in those situations.
Exactly. How to not be in those situations, how to avoid it. Like, oh, what are these signs that these people missed that I, could have paid better attention to? But it's also like people who are fully aware and could have it all together that still get slipped up. So that is
Yeah,
what's terrifying.
there's nothing that says that it can't happen to anyone.
Exactly.
Like you
Exactly
can
that.
do
So
everything correct, and I'm doing correct in quotes, and still get attacked by someone.
exactly that. So it's just be careful, watch your surroundings, all that stuff. You can do all that, but people gonna be gray regardless. So just protect yourself. But yes, that is what I am listening to. What are you listening to, sis?
Well, speaking of podcasts and speaking of true crime, there is a podcast that you might like called Let's Never Meet. And it's a man telling short stories that were shared by listeners of true crime near misses. So it's like there's a story about a woman who runs into a man in the parking lot at the grocery store, and he's being really insistent about wanting to help her load her groceries. And she's like, no, no, I'm good. Please leave me alone. And he's just pushing, pushing, pushing. And finally, she like yells at him, like, get the fuck away from me, leave me alone. And then the next day, she sees him on the news because he attacked some woman in her car in the parking lot of the grocery store.
Oh,
And the story, like the narrator ends with, to the guy in the parking lot at the grocery store, let's never meet. And so the podcast is called Let's Never Meet. And it's just all these stories of people like, this is the shit that happened that was fucked up. I don't want to meet that person. I don't want to see that person again. I think there's like three or four stories per episode. So they're
wow.
all short stories. And for the most part, it's like celebrating that people didn't have bad things happen to them. So you might like that.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
and then there is a podcast called Short History of like dot 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 because it basically is short histories of major events. And
Hmm.
as we know, our education system in this country is not always great. And I know for me in particular, what I learned in history just pales in comparison to what actually exists. And so this is great if you want to hear everything from like, I listened to an episode on the Irish potato famine. Thrilling entertainment, right? But I
Yes.
realized
Riveting.
like if you you heard of you everyone's probably heard of the Irish potato famine, but I didn't really know the background of it. And this podcast gives you that background and it's in less than an hour. So it's like taking something major that happened in history and compressing it into less than an hour so you get like the high level breakdown.
Mm.
And I was like, wow, I actually learned something and I was entertained and yeah, it's good. And then the last one is a podcast called Nothing Much Happens. And this podcast is awesome because it is basically a podcast that is meant to be listened to when you're about to go to sleep and you need to wind down. And this woman has the most soothing voice and she writes these stories that are basically bedtime stories for adults where nothing much happens. So you're not getting distracted trying to follow a story like you would if you try to fall asleep watching a TV show or something or a movie.
Hmm.
It's just a woman with a very soothing voice who's reading you a story that she wrote and just describing things in details. And the next thing you know, you've fallen asleep. It's great. So if anyone is like me and has trouble falling asleep, this is a great podcast. And the last thing that I have is not a podcast. It is, I had mentioned in our first episode, Chapel Roan. And does this ring a bell?
Yeah.
So Chapel Roan, it's been what, a month since it has been a month. It's been a month. And like, she's all over the place. Like, everybody is talking about her. Like, our CEO sent out an email at work and mentioned Chapel Roan. We don't
Wow.
work in music, so it's not like, yeah, this makes sense. She's one of our artists. No, he just mentioned her as like a way to like tie in some business talk. Uh, but I listened to her album from 2023. It is so good. It is such a good album. She has a song called Pink Pony Club, and I looked it up. Yeah, it's a good song, Pink Pony Club, and I looked it up. And it turns out that it is a song where she's basically talking about her first time visiting, I think, the Abbey in West Hollywood, which is I guess it's officially like a gay bar and restaurant.
Yeah.
But they also like occasionally have like lesbian nights. And she talks about going there for the first time and like as a queer person feeling like, oh, like, this is amazing seeing all these queer people just existing and being themselves in this place and not like worrying about it. And I thought that was really cool. So I like her even more now. And it's just every song on that album is different, has different like sound and vibe. And yeah, you're gonna hear a lot more about her.
I have been hearing about her, especially when I work with a few Gen Z people, and I'm just like, oh, okay, I keep hearing about this girl. So I gotta check her out.
Yeah, she's great.
Well, those are some really great recommendations. Nothing much happens. That's really one stick out to me. So I'm definitely going to give that a listen. But yes, great, great list, sis. All right, y'all, it's time to wrap things up. Well, that's it for today's episode, y'all. We'll be back in 2 weeks on Thursday. Follow us on Instagram at CrossGenSisters. Email us at crossgensisters@gmail.com. Follow, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Tell your sisters, brothers, friends, and all your loved ones about us. Thanks for listening, y'all. Bye. Love you, sis.
Love you, sis.